Alright, boys and girls. Hopefully I can remember everything. We got a nice little stack here of comics. A little short runs. So I think we should be able to get through this whole stack, no problem. I'm going to start out with Death's Head, #1. This is part of a Midtown deal where they had a bunch of issue ones for, I think they're up to 60 or 70% off. Basically, with what I all bought, and it came out to about $2, a little less than $2 per book, and I got a ton of sketch covers and stuff, and those things you can turn around and sell for $5 on eBay, no problem. So I have no problem buying as many of those as I can when I find them under $3 a piece. So uh, this character, basically, he's a machination, and basically a giant robot type character. Has some upgrades over the years. Apparently, there's been some different Death's Head characters out there. I don't know if this is the same one, just been modifying himself over the years or what. I think I read a Death's Head comic one other time, uh, but this is more newer to my brain box at the moment. So I don't remember anything about the last one. I almost want to say the last one I read, he was just a character in a book, maybe. And it's Marvel related, so definitely I would have thought maybe like a Savage Dragon style comic character, but no. This would have been in Marvel, so I'm not sure where I would have read it unless it was just a straight up Death's Head book. I know I have some from the 90s sitting out in my garage that I have yet to look at, so I will have to. I'm definitely curious on his character. I like how Yondu's in this storyline, and he's working some deals with Yondu, and basically trying to figure some things out. And at the same time, people are kind of like criticizing him over everything and just basically treating him like crap. Just want to take him out. It's like, what you doing here? And we end up getting Wiccan and Hulking in the storyline. They start hunting them down. They're dealing with some stuff that's happening, and then they end up crossing paths with Death's Head. And it's a decent storyline. I'm not a fan of the Wiccan character and the Hulkling character. I really didn't. I mean, it's not the whole sexual aspect of them that bothers me. It bothers me when you have a Hulk character and you sit there and he's whimpering, he's cowering. Uh, the other characters like, "Oh, don't worry, sweetheart, I'll take care of you," and all this stuff. It's like you're Hulkling, you're a Hulk style character, and you're cowering. I don't get it. I guess it's me. I guess I'm sexist or something. I don't know, but it just pulled me right out of the story. Once those two jumped into it, I instantly, before I even started reading any of their lines, I instantly basically wanted to put the book away. I seen them and it's like, yeah, this ain't gonna go the way I wanted to, and it just pulled me right out of the story. And those two characters just kind of ruined what's going on with the storyline. But I do want to know more about the Death's Head characters, so if I find some more in the bargain bins, I'll pick them up just to see where the story went. Because there are a lot of other characters that are in that storyline, but really bummed that the Hulkling character. Wiccan, didn't know much about. But the Hulkling character, I read some stuff in the past and just not a fan. Not interested at all. Did not interest me enough to pull me into that character. So that's all right. We'll survive to read Death's Head another day. Give it another chance and see. Like I said, the Death's Head character storyline part of it, I liked. But once those characters came in, it just ruined it for me. And nothing against their sexual preferences. It's about how they act. Just, you're a superhero. Come on. I mean, kissy poo poo. Not doing it for me. What are you gonna do when the baddie shows up? You gonna start crying and just run away? You're a Hulk. Suck it up, buddy. Suck it up, Buttercup. We did a Flesh and Blood review for a 3-issue run, and we also had a 2-issue run from Franco Aureliani, from Art and Franco from M.O.R.I.A.R.T.Y Comics. This is done through Blind Wolf Comics. This is Flesh and Blood, Love and Hate 2-issue run. This is basically it followed right up off the last issue. I mean, our girl's still completely messed up, has her face completely ripped up. She goes, finds someone. He gives her some protection, a place to recoup herself, sew up her face, stitch up her face, and we find out what happens with. Well, she finds out what happened to her old master from the first 3-issue run, and then it takes us into her having another character show up to join forces with her again, while at the same time they're all dealing with the little fight that's going on between the different vampires and our one vampiric character that I'd really like to know more about him. There's got to be an earlier Flesh and Blood run than these 2 runs that I just read, because they mention how he has these powers where he's kind of like a daywalker. He's kind of like Blade in that aspect. He's apparently, if he hurts you with his flesh and blood, it affects your flesh and blood. Like, apparently her face isn't going to heal because he just basically went in and just ripped her face apart. And because that character just damaged her, she's permanently damaged or something like that. I don't know why it would affect her if it was just his skin. You would think he'd have to get his blood in there. I don't know. It was a little confusing for me, the overall storyline. Again, you're dealing with a black and white comic. If they colored it, it would have probably helped me understand the storyline way more. That's black and white's all right, but at least throw a color or 2 in there just to make certain things pop, so you kind of get it. So it's like a lot of these characters, they look the same to me. I don't know if it's just my MS brain or what, but when they're black and white, they all flow together. Male, female, it don't matter. Animorphed. For some reason, they just all flow together that way. We got Howard the Duck, number 1. This is the 2016 or 2019 version. Okay, where did I put my glasses? Would help. So put that over there too. This is the 2015, so 2015 to 2016 issue run. I liked it, but I feel like every time I read the issue 1 of Howard the Duck, we're going basically out the same storylines. I'd like a little different story instead of just constantly going back to the origins. Whereas Howard's kind of a weird one. We got 2 or 3 different origin stories for Howard. One where he appears in a Nexus that's out in the swamp where Man-Thing is. Oh yeah, the movie version where he gets sucked through space and ends up in Cleveland. Uh, I thought there was another Nexus style one where he appeared somewhere else too. But I could be wrong. It could have been just a different view from the whole Man-Thing swamp version. But yeah, it's got Howard is a duck, as you no doubt pieced together from the title of the book and the cover image. He's not just a duck. He's a duck who talks and displays a remarkable amount of common sense in a world gone mad. Brought here through the nexus of all realities, several years ago, Howard has struggled to find a place for himself in this world of hairless apes. He's been a rent-a-ninja, a presidential candidate, even a George Lucas movie subject. But no matter where life takes him, he's still just trapped in a world he never made. And it's like Chip Zdarsky, Joe Canones, Rico Renzi, VC's Travis Lanham, John Moisen, Will Moss, and just awesome lineup. Great story, great character, and you can't go wrong with Howard the Duck no matter what kind of story you give him. But basically, in this one, we got Howard in the, I want to say Terra, but I know that's not right. Uh, the tattooed gal are in jail separately, but end up getting released at the same time. Talk to each other, pass each other, find out their businesses are close to each other, and then Howard needs to go on a mission. He's hired as a PI to recover something that's been stolen. And it was stolen by a certain Marvel character that Spider-Man may know. So Howard hooks up with Spider-Man, gets his number from She-Hulk. Steals the number from She-Hulk. And calls him in to see if he can help Howard out. And we find out that Spider-Man doesn't want to get Howard into that type of situation and have to deal with that person's issues that they're having at the moment. And so Howard ends up running into the tattooist gal, and they're talking about things, and he mentions that he's trying to find this person, and she's like, "Oh, you mean the lady that lives in my apartment?" so, so that helped, or a apartment nearby or whatever. And yeah, I like it, but I feel like the newer Howard the Duck that I read since the 2015 version ends up with the same style story to start us off. So I got to get all my old comics together so I can find out. All right, this one is the Mighty Mascots, which I cannot believe I didn't read this before, because this is by Alterna Comics. And when our friends had the comic shop, just before COVID, they ended up closing down. I sold a bunch of my stuff. Well, they were selling a bunch of my stuff through it, and they ended up hooking up with Alterna. Got an Alterna comic rack in the shop, and we were pretty much. I was buying almost every Alterna comic that they had come in, but I don't remember the Mighty Mascots before. But this was really fun. Great big parody. It's issue number 1 in a 3-issue limited series, so I'm gonna have to find number 2 and 3. But all these different serialized characters. I'm a person that hates. I don't understand why. Why did they have to go with this? I mean, Saga, Mighty Mascots, Happy Astronaut changed their character, their robot character to one, but all these characters that have these TVs for heads. It's like, okay, fine. You're going to give them a TV for a head. Well, number one, they don't eat, bite, breathe. So why do they need a mouth? Or if they need a mouth just for the talking imagery, that's fine. But why give them teeth? I don't understand that. Some of them have different types of teeth and stuff like that. And it's like, well, they obviously can't bite nothing, so why do they need teeth? I don't know. It just drives me nuts when they use electric devices as faces for body parts. It just makes no sense to me. It would be so easy to break the screen. I, I'd rather have a normal face than a TV face, because if someone punches me, they're going to break the TV face, and the normal face can heal. I don't know. I don't really do not understand the concept. I like a standard robot, a normal robot, but not big on the TV ones. But there's a lot of fun characters in here and tons of parodies. And the baddies in this storyline are these, this Muckmouth and all these other. It reminds you when I grew up in the 70s. I can't remember if it was Crest or Colgate or who it was, but one of the toothpaste companies had the commercial where the monsters came into the mouth and they were just destroying the teeth. That's what all these characters felt like, that our characters have to defend themselves against. And we get like a Kool-Aid character. We get a Captain Crunch character. I'm not sure who the bear would be with the boxing gloves. We get the Toucan Sam style character. And just lots of different serialized style characters in this. And very fun. I definitely want to read the final two issues, so I am going to have to pick it up. But yeah, you basically got all these different serialized characters, and they're after this Muckmouth and all his little tooth decaying type characters. They basically look like they're square characters. They're like green and slimy and stuff coming off them. They look like decayed teeth. But yeah, that was fun. It went a different kind of a route that I was expecting, but not to be that much parodied stuff in there. So I always like the parodies, so that works for me. We got Moriarty, Clockwork Empire. This is a 4-issue run. I got it at some sale where they put these stupid 50-cent stickers on that you can't take out off it. But yeah, I suppose I want to see who worked on the Mighty Mascots too. I don't think I looked when I read it. Keith Gleason, Ian Warrianto, and Anton Bondi. Keith Gleason is the only name I've seen before, so that didn't help much. But with this Moriarty, a thrilling steampunk twist on classic gothic horror. This Clockwork Empire rules, says Matt Morrison, comics historian. I thought there was one quote from. I ain't seen it now. Yeah, Fred Duvall, Jean-Pierre Piquet, Steven Subic, and Scarlett worked on this one. London, 1899. In the steampunk metropolis, strange things are afoot. Clockwork card-playing automations cheat noblemen of their fortunes. A man at war with himself seeks oblivion in a Chinese opium den, and the peculiar death of a famous inventor sees his fortune left to the most unlikely party. Sherlock and Watson are on the case, ready to untangle this clockwork riddle. I like this. I always like Sherlock Holmes stuff. They pretty much all fall under the same pattern. they all got to have Moriarty in it or some aspect of Moriarty to it. They all have to have your little twists and turns. Sherlock doing his makeup disguise stuff. Watson trying to take the guys down by himself or find it any certain information for Holmes, and just all kinds of things happening along the way. Uh, this one I really liked because we had a lot of characters in here. Uh, the main focus of the story is on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We get to see him dealing with morphine, trying to suppress the creature from coming out. We got Lady Lee Me. She's kind of like the head of the organization that's running the whole poppy fields and all that. She's basically trying to get control of all the heroin, the cocaine, all the different drugs out in the world. And at the same time, she's working with Moriarty, who Holmes swears he saw fall off a cliff, bounce off a rock, and was presumed dead. We get basically starting out with Hyde coming out, causing a bunch of problems in London, getting arrested, taken down, all that stuff. They try and work on things. They have people with recollections of seeing Jekyll leave his office but never come back. The Hyde character would come back or whatever. So they never put two and two together and figured out that one was a creature, one was another person. Why is he laying? Sorry, I'm seeing the farmer spreading manure all over the field. And that's the alfalfa field that he takes down probably about 5 times a year, and he just did his second clipping on it. I don't know why he's putting fertilizer on top of it now. He's not seeding, so that's kind of weird. But yeah, not he doesn't need help with stuff growing this year. We got more rain than we already needed, whereas last year we didn't have enough, and the corn crops were only about ankle high last year at this time. Right now, our corn crops are up to the waist, so definitely getting enough rain. But not overly pleased with the art style in this, and a lot of it when it goes to the darker imagery. These aren't bad. I mean, it's all right. It's got that old school feel to it. It's just a lot of the people's faces are overshadowed, and it just gives them kind of like a zombie look, a decayed face look, and it mixes everything together. We have a card game where we find out that there's an automaton that's playing cards sitting in a wheelchair because he's obviously a couple thousand pounds, so he's too heavy to walk around. You'd know that it's a robot. And there's a female that was behind him helping with his card play, and you find out later on when they find out that it's a mechanized robot type character that's been scamming them out of card games, and basically running the numbers and taking everybody out hand after hand, making everybody lose all their money. And they take the girl down and find out that it is a guy dressed like a girl, and he's just feeding the automatrons, feeding him the information, and he's feeding stuff back to it, and they're just scamming people. And Sherlock Holmes figures that out, but each one of these comes with a nice double-sided poster in it, and I got some awesome imageries on those. But yeah, I just didn't like the darker imagery. It just threw the characters off, I felt. Just gave them too much of a I'll just show the one side of the poster that you can see on both. You got Hyde up there on doing the whole King Kong imagery, but we later see that they did get some blood or whatever, or tissue samples from Hyde, and Moriarty, who's all messed up, his face is all messed up and stuff, but obviously did get, there's a 4-issue run, by the way, he obviously did get damaged in the fall, and he's basically building these machinations, and they also somehow got some cell stuff or blood stuff or something from Hyde that they were able to make their own Jekyll and Hyde type characters. They aged those things up and took them to London and dropped them from the skies. They were just hauling them by plane. Drop them into the city and just let them go crazy throughout the city, destroying everything. There's just so much stuff happening in that Sherlock Holmes story, Moriarty story, I should say, but by Titan Comics. Nice little 4-issue run, but it was really enjoyable. I felt almost like it was a story that I seen on TV a while back. Basically, the same concept, a little bit twisted different. But this would be a fun one to see on in movie form or something like that, just to see all the Hyde characters rampaging through town and all the stuff that they do in here. It's just I think that would make for a good visual story representation. Then this one was the last time my wife went shopping with her friend. She always brings back a stack of comics, trade paperbacks, and stuff if she finds them for me, and I keep telling her not to, and she does anyways. She did a good job with this last one, but this was the one book I didn't care about. I wasn't going to. Wasn't in no hurry to read it, but then it was at the top of my stack the other day, and I just grabbed it, started reading it, and it sucked me in. It's actually not that bad. Something strange has been unleashed in the north of England. London teen Nicnevin, Nissy Oswald, is stuck in the countryside for the entire summer with only her mother and little brother for company. But things start to look up when she meets Reggie, an attractive and mysterious older man. Anybody named Reggie you can't trust. To whom she feels inexorably drawn. As Nissy busies herself with lustful reveries of Reggie and digging through the old family home, the small town is rocked by a grisly murder that claims one of its own. But the townsfolk aren't the only ones reacting strangely. Even the local fauna start to behave in mystifying ways. Before long, a series of seemingly disparate yet increasingly disturbing elements brews into a storm, and Nissy is in its eye. Yeah, it's folk horror through the eyes of a modern teen in this atmospheric tale of obsession, suspense, and magic from Helen Mullane, Dom Reardon, and Matthew Dow Smith. Yeah, it gets into, I mean, the girl and her mother, and her brother, they move into a house that they inherited, I assume. Used to be her grandmother's, her great grandmother's, her great great grandmother's. And we get this one character that's in the village that she runs into, and he starts explaining to her about this whole area that's got 3 different main points, and it's all relates back to the town's history. And he mentions how an old witch used to live in this house that they took over, and she's like, well, that would have been grandmother, my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, because we've always owned this place, and there's all kinds of wonderful twists and turns in here, and the wildlife as she kind of wants to be away from her mother, and just her father is left somewhere else. They obviously got separated, and she wants to be more with her father, but she's stuck with her mother for the summer right now, and then summer or fall, and then while she's hiding up in trees and just off on her own constantly to stay away from her ma and stuff, she always has wildlife around her. You'll see squirrels hanging out by her, deer coming up to her, all kinds of things. And then we also see this new character that she's hanging around with, him doing some interesting things with wildlife. And it's just, yeah. I was worried that it was going to go too voodoo-y. Thankfully, it didn't. That would have thrown me off the storyline. But it wasn't too bad. I didn't mind it. And it was a pretty quick read, so that's always nice. Super Fun Altogether, Cactus and Liz. I reviewed this not long ago. This is the last one I got on my stack. Um, but I just got another copy sent to me, signed by everybody. So just wanted to give it another shout out. Very cute, very wonderful story about a lizard and a cactus plant that's in a pot that meet, and they're hanging out in the desert. Started out, and they end up talking about some things. Something happens. They get sucked into this other world dimension type thing, and all kinds of things happen on their journey throughout it, and trying to get back to the desert where they just want to be left alone. But yeah, that was an awesome one. Also done by Franco, and that's why I got this. This came with those other books that Franco sent me that were all part of the Kickstarter for the Alex Key card game that we got through Kickstarter, which we have yet to play. I hope we get to play that a live game on Crimson Color Comic Club with the people. Well, that did all back the Kickstarter. That would be enjoyable if we get to do that. Don't know why I'm having like 20 hiccup burps all of a sudden. But yeah, that's it for those reviews. Nice little stack again. Nice little variety of things. I'm surprised I was able to remember all the stories because I've been reading those over the last week and all kinds of other things. So figured I would have mixed a bunch of stuff up. But yeah, that was a lot of enjoyable stuff. So check out anything that interests you. And we will get back with more reviews soon. Keep following Under Color by Mess. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, help us get some likes, and we will keep putting out the whatnot and whatevers that I feel like doing. Talk to you later. Bye.